So welcome again, and thank you all for coming. I wasn't sure I had a lot to say this morning, but I'm a speaker, so I realize I have still a lot to tell you this morning. And I will just start with what I said briefly yesterday, the difference between awakening, enlightenment, and self-realization. So awakening is really grasping, thanks to this, the mind is useful for that, really grasping who we are. We need that self-knowledge. And it's because as humans we have that brain that we can catch mentally who we are. Once we catch it, don't use the brain anymore if you can. But it is a useful tool to catch it and to get free of it. So this is what we talk about, self-knowledge, who we are. To grasp it once and for all. And it is very important to grasp it, really, to awaken. And when you awaken, there is really this, ha-ha, oh wow, now I got it. And sometimes we can hear it 1,000 times and not get it. And finally, there is this, aha, wow, it's so simple. And we don't lose it afterwards. We don't lose it. And this is important. So we don't get trapped by the spiritual ego also. We don't get trapped by the high waves, high states of consciousness, or depression. So we are free from high and low when we really grasp it. So this is very important. This is awakening. And enlightenment is when you have that self-knowledge and you are open to all the waves of the ocean. A simple openness. That doesn't mean you're very conscious of all the waves, but you're open. There is a confidence, there is a trust, and there is honesty. When a wave comes into you, you don't deny, oh, this is not within me. There is honesty. So these are the conditions for enlightenment. Self-knowledge, which gives peace. I can relax, I know who I am. And openness, without being too conscious, but openness, that's the openness of the heart. And that's the condition to transcend that ocean and to see what is at the depth of it. Your true light, the true light of consciousness, who you are. All-knowing, all-sensing. And once this happens, but that's not the condition because you can also realize the self without being enlightened. Meaning you can have openness and self-knowledge and still enlightenment doesn't happen because maybe the time you haven't been so much into the now. You need that total focus at one point in your life that may or may not happen for enlightenment to happen, but it doesn't matter. That total presence at one point. So this is a condition for enlightenment. But you can realize the self in a natural way, which is really the condition for enlightenment. And self-realization is the natural state. You know who you are and you are open. So many times during daily life, you are into that state, that natural state of honesty, non-duality with what is here and now, because you're confident, you trust yourself naturally, and you're honest. If something comes, a wave within you of emotions, of thoughts, you don't deny it, you're open to it. So the more you have that presence, the more you naturally open also to all the waves of the ocean, consciously now. So you will put a name on all of them because you gain that awareness. The heart sensitivity becomes softer and softer, so you can identify more and more all the shadows, all the waves of the ocean. So at one point there is stability, there is steadiness, because you said yes to all these waves. And in general there is a stability, which is perfect self-realization, but it doesn't matter whether we reach that stability or not, as long as we have this acceptance of here and now. So this is really important. Don't look for perfection. Look for here and now. I'm totally without any duality, because I know who I am and I keep my openness to all aspects of ego, because ego is not who I am. It is within the ocean, but I'm free from it. deep down, I'm always free from it. So this morning I was at my friend's and she said, oh, hear what I listen to in every morning. And it helps me a lot in my life. So I will play it for you. And I think that's part of a healing practice I would like to share with you today that came to me in the train to come here. And if we really go through that very short and healing practice, integrate one huge wave, where we can put everything in it, that the fast speed to feel at peace with yourself. So first of all, for any healing practice, you first meet the truth. I am already free. I am divine. And then you meet the wave as it is, the old identification. I am that, I am bad, I am mean, I am all whatever you want to put into that wave, which is not the truth, but an identification. You meet that, you feel it in the body, you breathe with it, and at the end you come back to truth. I am. I am. Love, peace, already healed, already free. I can trust myself. And you come back to that. And that's really a great healing practice, because you come from the truth, you meet the wave, and you come back to truth. So you cannot identify again to that ego wave. So she's playing that in the morning, and I found it useful, and maybe that would be useful for a few of them for breakfast. You know, we don't always have time to meditate, to come back to the space inside. But if we keep hearing these words of who we are, they can be for breakfast, you know, over breakfast, they can be every day we'll start believing in it, maybe. So, Guru Das with double S at the end. Guru Das Kaur, K-A-U-R. And that can be helpful for some of you, if you feel that can help. Otherwise, meditation or meeting the words, I am beautiful, I am love, can help also. And then once we have integrated the truth, and just feeling the effect of words in the body, we can meet, we talked yesterday, for the ones who were not there yesterday, we talk about the ocean we are, the ocean of consciousness. We are not one wave, but the water going through every wave. So to realize who we are is having that openness to all the waves. If we are rejecting one wave, how can we be open to everything? So it's really an integration of all aspects of ego. And also knowing we are not ego, but the water within every form. So that's really important to remember. We are the water, consciousness within every form, but we are not ego. We are not the form. We are already free from form. So once we know that, there are two ways to be in life, consciously. Either we decide, okay, I know I am, but I don't work with myself. So what will happen? I will meet and learn to integrate all aspects within me through life. That's a path of life. So I haven't too much clarity about ego, but I will meet it outside. I meet every wave I reject. So whenever you have difficulties, it's your ego that manifests as a wave, as a person outside. So really understanding that already stops the pointing at others, but pointing at your own ego that you have not completely integrated. So that's really important to understand that. But there is an easier way to integrate all aspects of ego. Is instead of waiting that it manifests outside as a wave in our life, we can bring it into our own wave, because we are that ocean. And I'm not ego, but what about meeting it as it is? And that big wave I was talking about as the greatest healing, because the light is hidden behind evil. You have to have a total openness to find the light. And if we can integrate evil within us, and by evil, I mean all greed, all manipulation, all will for power, jealousy, stubbornness, all these kind of things, putting others down, a feeling of superiority, and of rejections of others, viciousness. Huh? So if we can really completely welcome that wave after first meeting the truth, I am love, meeting the wave of ego, which is not at all who you are. But let's not be afraid of that wave, because the greatest healing is there. If we are no longer afraid of recognizing that as part of the ocean, evil is also there, and it is within who I am also. So meeting I am evil and checking it in the body, how it feels, how it resonates. Do we have space for it, or do we have resistance in the body? So you breathe with it. And if there is space, you're free from it. You can be sure that wave will never overwhelm you, because you have given it a place within you. So that's really the initiation, meeting all aspects of ego within from a place of understanding. I'm not my ego, but I will give room to it, so I can realize who I am, consciousness within absolutely every form. Because as long as you reject a form, you cannot be who you are. So that's self-realization. So if we really say, I am evil, and you check in, it's not true, but check in how it resonates in you. And after that, we can come back to the truth. I am love. I am absolutely at peace with myself. And only true silence and true peace comes from completely giving room also to evil within. That's really true silence. So we can check in. First, I am love. And you can practice that at home if there is lots of resistance in the body. If there is no resistance, there is self-integration and self-knowledge. How does it feel? Okay. Good. So you can never be lost if you hold on to your truth, even meeting these big waves. And that's a way to pacify the ocean of samsara, the world. That's a way to pacify the world, that recognition. These are the three aspects of consciousness. So yesterday we started talking about it. And there is Sat, which means the openness to the ocean of life. That's usually the feminine energy, existence, life itself is who you are. So that openness. And there is Chit. Chit is a vertical aspect of consciousness. That is pure consciousness, pure awareness. But that's where we are very often misguided or confused in spirituality. Is that emptiness alone is still not self-realization. It has to come down to the heart. So emptiness, the void, a kind of silence, is still not total silence or real love. And it gives clarity, stability, because it's a channel for the light. You're there, you have integrated your ego, but the rest of the waves, out. I don't care, I'm here. That's practical to be shiny, to feel a lot of light within. So it appears very divine, and that's where we get very confused. It appears very divine in that verticality. It appears very divine, and it can have power, because when you exclude the rest of the waves, humanity within, you're channeling directly the light. So that's why it appears very divine, and that's where for millions of years we've been confused and have been going towards the female aspect of spirituality, but not completely opening to all the waves of the ocean. And that place is telling us, don't open because you will sink. But we can open to the waves from a conscious place, and you don't sink. And why that place has been afraid of opening to all the waves is because in that openness, we gain clarity about verticality at one point. So unconsciously or consciously, there is a fear in the male aspect of spirituality. There is a fear to open to the feminine, because that openness has the deepest clarity of the heart, which only comes from intuition, but has clarity about where the lie, the ultimate lie is. So we have not to put the guilt on anyone, because they are in the feminine openness. There are also some flaws, self-guilt, confusion, too much emotion and clarity, openness, but very mixed with what we feel within. Where is the border between I and others? We are so confused that we can welcome all the waves as what we are, and believing we are evil, when we are love, open to all aspects of evil. So that's a feminine confusion. Thinking I am bad simply because I am love. That's the original mistake of the feminine energy, which has given root to guilt, to self-doubt, and to actually an attachment to suffering. So we keep that tendency, and if we are clear about that, we can get free from it. We can become free from it. And in the verticality, there is clarity, stability, steadiness, and maybe powers. A lot of intuition, direct connection with the light. A lot of shyness. It looks divine, but it can be manipulative in that divinity, in that aspect of divinity. So that's where is a little bit the last evil. It is there. It is not in the feminine energy. And we've been confused for millions of years. And that's why the world is in that state. Because that will for power at the spiritual level has manifested in all other aspects of humanity. It all comes from the spiritual level. From there, everything can be integrated or not. So if we stop that fight at the spiritual level and really understand the battle between the feminine and the masculine, we can change society. Not that we want to change society, but change will happen, because that inner fight is stopped. And the will for power can relax. It's all okay. We don't have to be afraid of the waves. Evil is okay. It's within everybody. Let's say yes. And then we can relax and open and integrate both the masculine and the feminine energy. And as a feminine, we can finally open up and dare to be our true self and to open our voice, because otherwise unconsciously we feel, wow, if I come to the stage, I'll be so destroyed. We feel that unconsciously in the feminine energy. So it's a shift into that openness. And integrating both can really pacify who we are, both in a female body and in a male body. And by what I mean also, I have to be clear about this masculine and feminine energy, because it doesn't matter what is this shape. If you look like a woman or a man, so if you're homosexual or whatever, it doesn't matter. You still have feminine energy and masculine energy, more or less. One is more or less. So depending on that, you come in your life towards to spirituality, towards a certain path. So you either choose the path of Sat, of existence, openness. And slowly, you will come to integrate Chit and Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So slowly, from openness to life, you'll come to realize who you are, which is Chit. And you will come to understand that actually there is no fear to have. We can give. And a little bit forget about ourselves and give. And that's really joy. That little sacrifice for the ego is actually the joy we meet by forgetting a little bit. There is no fear to have. I can give. It doesn't matter. Everything will come back anyway. I can never lose. So that certainty is also the openness to Ananda. And sometimes we come, the masculine energy, when it is predominant within our body, whether as a woman or as a man, it manifests as first I go towards Chit. I go towards the essence. I go towards emptiness. I go towards states of consciousness, samadhi, bliss. But I can be trapped into it. And that's where mostly spirituality is trapped nowadays. confusion regarding states of consciousness. So it appears very divine, but that can be the greatest trap, because it is still has a feeling of specialness, and it doesn't come down to the heart. So when the masculine energy comes into spirituality and get there, it's beautiful. You get a lot of understanding of the essence and clarity, but still the clarity of the heart is not there. And finally, when you can detach from peace and states of consciousness, holding into your little cocoon of peace, you can open to the heart and integrate Sat, Chit, and finally let go of all you can possess. You have nothing to lose. You can let go of all you possess, you have nothing to lose, and you feel actually you never lose anything. That's really where abundance can manifest. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So another thing we have to understand about the Sat, Chit, Ananda is when it's not only inner integration and understanding, it manifests outside in your life. You know, the three aspects of consciousness, we meet it as waves also outside. So Sat is the feminine energy, the mother. And Chit will manifest in your life as a spiritual father, or what is the emblem of a father. And Chit as a son. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So at one point we have that trinity around us. We have that trinity around us. And there is confusion in that trinity. Who is a son? Who is a father? Who is a mother? Is she the daughter? There can be a lot of confusion. And that confusion is still the confusion of the mind. So that's where sometimes at the end of the spiritual path, meaning when you have gained clarity about that ocean, you can still fall from heaven, because that trinity holds a lot of unclarity. So usually father and mother, symbolic, I'm talking about archetypes here. It's not the trinity, God, but we all meet throughout our life these three aspects of who we are, because we need to gain clarity about them. So we meet them, they manifest into our life, and we get confused. So father and mother are the opposites, the sky and the earth. So it's a challenge there. It is difficult. It is not easy. It's, through relationships, also sometimes friendships, we need to integrate these two aspects of who we are. And it is a conflict until we really understand and respect our mutual beauty, the mutual beauty of love and the mutual beauty of peace, and can integrate both within ourselves. But this is where there is generally the biggest duality. So it feels heavy, and it feels tiring, and it feels, oh gosh, again that. And that's where at one point manifests the son, Ananda, or whatever name we can call it, the spiritual son. And with that one, that feels so easy for the mother. It's very flowing, very easy, very, wow, it appears much more like love. So usually that's where the fall starts. The mother and the son will attract each other, which may be archetypes. I was thinking maybe all the archetypes of the Oedipian complex, or whatever, is coming from that root of confusion about the Trinity and the three aspects of consciousness. So all this archetype we have within come from this spiritual confusion, where the son will come. It's not the physical son, but it is the spiritual son, will come and will create attraction and confusion. So it's a little bit confusion game there. Who is a son, who is a father, who is a lover, and it's much easier between the son and the mother than with the father. So maybe that's a story of Ganesha, Shiva and Shakti. When Shiva left and Parvati came and manifested the sun, she created the sun from her earth, from her understanding of humanity. The sun was created out of her own consciousness. But that sun, manifesting in life, has actually a great harmony with the mother. But is she the mother or not? So that's where we have confusion. So we have a tendency in life to go towards what is easy and flowing and easy. But that's where we are confused. The work and the integration is within the father and the mother. to hold on to that duality and integrate it and have clarity that where it is easy and flowing, it is not the father, the husband, but the son, the spiritual son. So gaining clarity on that can really help not to fall from heaven, not to get confused, and for not the father to use that excuse to completely knock the woman energy, where we've been accused of all evil because of that confusion, resulting also from confusion within the father, the spiritual father. So I'm not sure this is all clear, but that may be useful when you meet it in your life. You will remember. And so that's a challenge of the Trinity. That's a challenge of the three aspects of consciousness. And being clear on that can finally, and we will fall again and again, but gaining clarity more and more through sometimes experience will help completely rising from it and not falling into that pitfalls of heaven, So that's what I wanted to share. So this integration of Sat, Chit, Ananda also manifests outside as finally clarity in and out. And that's total self-realization, Sat, Chit, Ananda. You can welcome the father aspect within you, the mother aspect within you, and the son aspect within you.
So the real work, so to say, is it the father and the mother?
We are what?
Like you said, we get confused when we kind of get this feeling of flow.
Yeah.
And then it's the mother and the son.
And the son.
But where the work really is to do,
father and mother.
Yeah. So
the bridge between heaven and earth is the father and the mother. And these are the two opposites. So that's where we need to really work to integrate.
And what could that be? That would be kind of.
So it is the work of integrating the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So selfishness for women, it is a challenge to integrate the masculine selfishness, and to integrate the manipulation that can be into that energy. And so it is a challenge to integrate that and also to be put down very subtly sometimes. But the feminine energy is, if she rises, will be put down by that aspect of male energy. So if there is this recognition into every man or every masculine energy, if there is that recognition, it can pacify. And there can be an openness also to the flows of the feminine energy, which is mental confusion, too much emotions, being confused, but actually she's telling the truth, but in a very confused way sometimes. And so from the male energy to listen a little bit more to that female energy and also to rebalance it, to have understanding, but to rebalance it and say, hey, don't be so lost there, cool down and da-da. So we can help each other to integrate these two sides of confusion and to understand each other. And it is because the female energy has self-doubt that we actually give power to the male energy of manipulation. This self-doubt is a source of the reason for manipulation. But if at the level of the feminine, self-doubt subsides, the manipulation can also not pop out. It will be balanced because women will start believing completely in themselves, and that rebalance the play of life. So if we understand that, we can really integrate these two, and that's real love. Real love is between the father and the mother, not with the son, even if it appears more like love. Real love is where there is difficulties. Too bad. Shit happens. we saw millions of years of it.
So the Christian Trinity has excluded the female.
Yes. Maybe the Holy Spirit, feminine or masculine, we don't know, but phew.
But in a way, maybe the Son in Christianity was Jesus, and he was a feminine character.
Yeah, the Son has integrated both. Huh? The Son is he can finally surrender and give love to the father and mother, huh? and step out. In that it is Ananda, it finds joy. Hmm? But it doesn't mean that we have to be, it is not one Trinity. There are as many Trinity as there are people. Hmm? And we can reach all that realization within. Huh? But it is an archetype. It holds these past histories or archetypes within ourselves. And if we don't gain clarity, we'll be trapped again. And there will be sacrifice, and there will be this. And so it's down from the pedestal, from the sky, back to the heart. So without a mother energy, there is no God. Because otherwise the male energy stays up and high and doesn't open to the heart. So there has always been a mother and a surrendering to the female energy for true divinity to manifest. So she really is a mother of God, but unseen. Because then there has still been a few unclarity on the way.
But in Tantra, she is recognized as the mother of God.
Yeah, yeah. In many religions also, there is always that feminine energy. But it's also very undermined. The Shakti energy, the feminine power, is a little bit put aside because it is a challenge. It is a challenge for the verticality, the male energy. It is also a challenge for the feminine energy because as long as there is self-doubt, that Shakti is also creator of trouble in the sense that too many emotions are a source of chaos in the universe because there is this openness and oneness with all that is. But as long as that Shakti energy is not stabilized, it is a reason for shaking also the earth. So it's a challenge for both to really stabilize and really understand and open to these two energies and integrate peacefully both. So that's why the Shakti has been also described a little bit as evil. Not that there is an intention of evil, but confronted to many waves of ignorance and confronted to many waves of misunderstanding and injustice and unfairness. At one point, she becomes Kali, I'm tired, and the earth can be shaken. That's the power of the Shakti, confronted to a lot of waves of ignorance.
So she turns into Kali.
She turns into a Kali, but that has death around. So the Shakti is frightening. It is also the source of death, but also the source of renewal, because things have to change. So that's when we come from cycles of time, cycles of consciousness, from clarity back to ignorance, and again back to clarity and back to ignorance. That's a cycle of the mind, where we forget our light, and the cycles of time. Mind and time are the same. So we go from spirals, from ignorance to clarity, from ignorance to clarity, and that can go better and better, but these cycles are there. But every time at the end of the Kali Yoga, the age of darkness, that Shakti energy is strong in many women to shake things. We need to change. It's time for change. It cannot continue like this. So it is both a source of renewal, but also a source of destruction if a lot of waves of ignorance are within the ocean. Because there are walls and walls and walls to cross.
I never heard about time as mind, but it's interesting.
Yeah. When you explore the mind, you explore time. And when you get free from the mind, you get free from time.
Wow.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sorry.
If one has to integrate more masculine energy, how would you say that I could do that, for example?
So it's very simple. Feminine energy is self-integration, openness to all aspects of the wave of ego. Masculine energy is self-knowledge. I know who I am. So this is clear, this is steady, this is strong. I'm connected to my essence. So it is very simple. It's holding onto I am beautiful, I am love, I am divine, I am peaceful. That mantra in the morning is the integration of self-knowledge, the masculine energy, verticality.
In your definition, could it be said very simply that masculine energy has to do with centering, feminine with openness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Centering, strength, clarity, mental clarity, and lack of confusion. Because you can have natural boundaries. So that's a lack of confusion. The feminine energy is very open. But love without self-knowledge, love that is not conscious of itself, is lost and confused. And is too open and doesn't set boundaries of self-respect. So we also need to create boundaries in a natural way. But self-respect is important. We all are the same wave. We all are the same ocean. So if I respect all waves around, but I don't respect myself, I can still not find self-integration, self-realization, because I am as important as any other wave. So that's self-respect and the determination of natural boundaries. Yes, no, I agree with that, I don't agree with that. Please get the hell out of my life is also important. To really help also others change and transform. Not that you want to change and transform them, but by respecting yourself, you're also helping other people. So it's very, very important not to fall into that spiritual idealism where everything is good and nice and I am one and where we are not yet helpful for each other. So setting boundaries, and with education and our children, it is so important to set boundaries, clear boundaries, lots of love, but clear boundaries, authority and love. Back to that, from a place of heart, because otherwise they are so spoiled nowadays that they will become so weak. Any little criticism will not be accepted. Any little what is considered as judgment will be seen like a mountain of self-destruction. So it's very fragile. They will become very, very fragile. And we need to really put words, not be afraid of words. That's why I work with words, because as long as we are afraid of certain words, we are still identified with them. And I know there's been deep wounds sometimes in some people, deep wounds. And words are echoing that wound. So it hurts. Some words cannot be felt and met because it echoes to the wound. But really the healing is there. Don't be afraid of any words. And once we are reconciled with every word, meanness, manipulator, whatever, every word, and make peace with just words, we make peace with who we truly are. And that's freedom. But as long as we reject words, we reject who we are also. So words are powerful to integrate who we truly are and make peace with who we are. But if we overprotect our kids by speaking psychologically correct and never using this word, they will become very fragile. So I'm not saying just put blame and judgment on them, but if you don't have blame inside you, you don't want to put your kids down, don't be afraid of words. They have to understand that their behavior sometimes means that. But we can shift a little bit in our language from saying you're bad to your behavior is bad now. So, or your ego is, let's not be afraid of the word ego, just a wave. We can say your ego now has this color. Instead of saying you're bad, you're mean. Your behavior, your ego now is like this. So they will make the difference between their true self and ego. And at the same time, let's not be afraid to put the right word on the ego behavior so that they can be becoming accustomed to it. Otherwise, they keep being so fragile. they will become so fragile, and they've been so spoiled that there is no way to bring them to self-realization. So let's help our children by not being so nice in terms of so spoiled. And no is so important sometimes, but out of love and no blame, really no blame. But no confusion, there can still be a kind of judgment. So it's a thin boundary, but we feel it in our heart, how to be. We feel it. So now is your turn, if you have questions.
It's very interesting because what one feels is the right thing to do. Oh, you're so sweet, you're so nice, everybody. Show the best of you, da 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 da. It's actually setting the stage for trouble. Because they
Yes
can't
and
defend
no.
themselves.
Huh? It's
They
also
can't defend themselves when they go out themselves.
you also need to encourage the beautiful
Yeah,
side, huh?
and
To
you
recognize
only do
it.
that.
Only do that, they will become very weak, have
Yeah.
an immense defense mechanism, and impossible to come back to truth, recognition of what is here and now. Huh? So it's very
Did you say impossible?
if society the way it's going now in
Yeah.
the West,
Yeah.
good luck for these kids who've been given everything, have very few gratitude. They are not so much into gratitude, into recognizing the beauty of their parents. A lot of things are given to them, not many difficulties. We don't request much from them, not so much. So difficult to bring them to the heart, and there is a little bit of a heart path there, where we need to a little bit knock that ego.
They have a lack of empathy.
Lack of empathy,
Yeah.
everything is due, there is no more sense of respect and duty. So everything is a due. And as soon as I'm blamed or feel criticized, because they are not used to being criticized, as soon as there is a sense of being criticized, all the fault is on others. So this defense mechanism will become so strong that it will become impossible to awaken these new generations. So we have to be a little bit harder and a little bit clear with words and with lots of love, but clear with words and boundaries.
So I have a specific situation at work with someone who is quite difficult to work with. If you ask her to do something, she will get annoyed, and everybody feels this way. So now in my work, we tend to think, is it worth the battle?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not helping her.
Hmm.
Going, okay, I'll do it myself because I don't need the trouble. And everybody behaves like this, so and I don't think, so.
It's difficult because sometimes
I feel if I say something, there is a judgment of her. I can't separate, I can't just be love, you are not this behavior. I find it really difficult to speak from that point of, it's just your behavior. And I think she would hear it differently if I was able to speak from that point. But it has happened, but I managed to do that. But normally I just go, I'll do it myself because it's not.
Yeah. So when you move with people like this, don't move with the will to help them.
No, it's also because I feel
Yeah, move with the will
crappy.
to help yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if we move with the will to help them, it's still a little bit ego game also. So move with the will to respect yourself to the best and also her. And at one point, if you're at peace, completely be at peace with this person. I'm completely at peace with you. Bring peace into feel. If you can manage to be completely at peace with this person, into your body, no resistance at all. So whenever we are meeting difficult people in our life, let's bring them into our heart and body. I'm completely at peace with you, and you breathe. And from that place of peace, the best intuition can come out, how to deal with them. and to trust our words. And sometimes it can be very radical. Sometimes it can be just, I know I need to just take distance. There is no other way. Sometimes distance is the best way, because whatever you would say to some people will come back to you. So it's when there is too much of a wall, too much of ignorance, too much of a lack of understanding and openness, distance is always the best way. After still expressing what you feel as nicely as possible, try to express it, otherwise you get distance and still feel a bit frustrated. So say what you have to say in the nicest way possible, if possible, and then take distance. And that's the best way for maybe conflict to be resolved, maybe not, but the best way to keep a certain harmony between the two parts. And trust your heart for what to do and what to say. But make peace first in your heart.
I think that's exactly the missing link for me, your point. That there's so much discomfort, and I could see clearly that it's something, I must say something.
Mm-hmm.
But then I hadn't just fully accepted it or allowed that.
Yeah. So first inside, any conflict resolution is first inside. And then to set boundaries in a natural way and distance when there is no issue out. Take distance after expressing a little bit yourself. Because this will be helpful no matter what, to you and to the other one. Whether it is heard or not now, but it's still in the mind. People hear it. And that's helpful one day.
And I'm thinking, I've sometimes noticed that when I do start behaving in a different way, there's some discomfort related to that. But that's more because it's unusual for me.
Yes.
It's not a sign of that I'm doing something wrong.
No. It's when we start opening to verbally communicating what we feel. And let's try as much as possible to communicate freely, spontaneously, but trying to have more a little bit instead of saying you are, is I feel like this with you. You know, it's so, I'm sorry, but it's so heavy sometimes. I feel like this. Can we please find something, a solution together? So that's also, that is felt like an insult. But the more we open to communicating freely, we are not so used of that. So used to that. So at the beginning, we feel uncomfortable. We feel, shaky and uncomfortable, and it may come out like steam. Enough is enough! I will communicate, but it comes out as steam. But if we are getting used to communicating like this, that steam will cool down, because words come out more and more and more, which is also felt as a freedom inside. So we have less boiling energy inside. So let's really open to communicating freely, as nicely as possible if we can. And if we cannot, it's okay. But don't feel too guilty about that. Don't feel guilty. But more and more you will find peace with your way of communicating. Yes.
A question about doing or not doing.
Cannot hear. I cannot hear.
If about doing or not doing, or what to do.
And who is doing and who is the doer?
But in a way, if there's a kind of clarity and you know who you are, and you're just sitting there here and open to all the thoughts and all the sensations and feelings. It's like if you're sitting there and you're open, you don't have to do something or what.
What do you think?
I don't think.
So if you don't think, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
I don't think.
Yes, I know. It's. I know it's only a doubt, but in one way I know, but it's a question about trusting.
Yes, trusting.
Yeah.
And also
Okay.
being cool with yourself, allowing mistakes. Hmm?
Yeah.
You know, this morning I was walking, there was this cute puppy, a little puppy dog, and he was very clumsy. And so I thought, wow, it's like us when we learn how to be. At the beginning, we have not so much trust. So we are a little bit, going here, going there, not so steady into our doing naturally.
Yeah.
Hmm?
But the mind said that I should go on, to allow the waves,
Yes.
the big waves, and it is like it's trying to do something. There's something that wants to do something to get deeper and wider. Yeah.
So that is also, you have to feel also.
It's like if I don't do anything, something will just happen by itself.
Yeah, yeah,
Instead of trying to do something,
yeah.
and it's getting back to trust.
Completely,
Yeah.
completely. So when I was talking about this healing practice, this is important as an exercise. An exercise. Take it just as a healing practice. An exercise to a little bit simplify our life. Because when we meet ego within, we can avoid a certain karma in our life. We can shift, which is also part of our karma. So everything is predestined, even that shift. But it can be understood as a healing exercise. In daily life, try not to think so much. Hold on to trust. And be spontaneous. That's a natural doer of consciousness within every cell of yours. It knows what to do. Consciousness in you spontaneously knows what to do. It's the greatest force of creation. So you don't have to think what to do now. You feel, because it is within every pore of your skin, of your body. So go back to that spontaneity in daily life, into that movement. Don't think. Don't think, oh, I am consciousness. Now what should I be doing? Just be spontaneous. And when there is a contraction in your body, that's a sign that, again, ego is driving you. Ego now is a driver. So there are two drivers. There is a driver which is your nature, consciousness within your body, the natural expression of yourself. And sometimes the driver is ego. And when ego drives you, no matter what it is, you feel it in the body. As a feeling of uneasiness, or as a feeling of heaviness, or as a feeling of a contraction, anxiety. That's the ego. Then in the evening, you can come back and say, a little practice here. What really disturbed me in that situation? I welcome my wave. So that's the home practice. To help to ease your life a little bit. But in daily life, try not to think. Be spontaneous. And put attention into your body, if you can. When there is uneasiness. Yeah? Trust, trust, trust.
I've been thinking a lot about ego this morning, and you've been speaking a lot about it also, but I can't actually understand what it is, or who it is, or
What is this thing within us?
I can't even figure out where it comes from.
Memories. Memories that are registered into our bodies through the genetic lines. So it's not you. It's just memories. If they have been unresolved and there's been resistance to it keeps on manifesting into the body through the mother line to father line, the genetic branch of a tree. Huh? And the tree is not only your genetic branch, it is the whole tree of humanity. So all aspects of these memories, which is also the source of life, without memory, life also cannot manifest. Huh? So it is both a process of creation and a process of trouble. But we cannot have one without the other one. So these memories are within us, and if we are not conscious about what it really is, we identify with them. But if we are conscious, we say, hey, that's my program, genetic program within. It's not who I am. And what to do, I'm not guilty, I'm not responsible for it. When you become conscious. But with consciousness and seeing these patterns, you become responsible. Responsibility comes with awareness. Because you're clear about your ego. So you're responsible of it now. So the more you come to your divinity, the more you come to your responsibility in life. It's not, don't be afraid of it. It's not a way, but it comes naturally. And it's just memories, old memories, old patterns that are still unclear.
Yes, I have a little situation here with my mother.
Yeah.
And she will come soon to Copenhagen, so I feel like how to respond, because I see myself very much in my mother. The same, like this guilt and this maybe the wave of evil indifference, which I can see very strong in her, that she's not allowing, or she has this guilt that there is this wave inside, and same for me. So what I sense when I'm with her is this very like a deep heaviness, because I sense that she's trying to compensate for this wave of, actually sometimes the wave of indifference, not caring, and maybe lack of love. And then she's like overdoing, like really like overflowing, and always like thinking, how are you? And are you okay now? And you want to sit on my chair, or I can go here. And it's just like...
that typical feminine energy. Yeah?
And I see myself, of course, in that behavior as well. I've taken it. And then one time it was like, I didn't know how to respond. And then I just said, stop. And then she stopped, and I was like, I'm fine, and please stop, because I wanted her to really feel what is her need. Because it's actually hurting when she's... Because I sense where it comes from. It comes from this guilt. But then I sense that she became quiet, but then I sense that so much guilt in her was just like coming up, and she turned it inside, like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I felt that so deeply inside, so I didn't know how to relate to her, because I can sense that she is so tense in my company, and so I don't know how. And I also sense that it will be too much for her if I open up and say it's okay to be indifferent, it's okay to have this sense of not caring, and to recognize the meanness, or maybe a little bit like lack of love, but it's not you. But I don't sense that I can actually, it will be too much maybe to bring up.
I hope she can see that video.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you have to do.
Yes.
Huh? And you give all the answers.
Because I just feel like, I'm just longing for us to like breathe out and say, it's okay, because she cannot set boundaries at all. And for me, I also feel very difficult to set boundaries, because I also, so it's like for us to just really like, okay, step up and just allowing for being, say stop.
Yeah, and now she can maybe understand that this stop in you is coming from love.
Exactly. And from herself.
From caring, and from your own self-healing and her own self-healing, out of love. She will understand.
So I will show this?
Yes!
So when she comes, we can have a
true love.
And also for her to actually, it's okay.
Yes.
To say no to me, or to take the best care.
Life, to say no, to set boundaries, to respect herself.
Exactly,
also, and know that she is love.
Exactly, yes.
to believe she is love.
So when she is going for the best chair and I see that she feels guilty and then, oh, you want to sit here? And I'm like, yeah, so.
Yeah.
You can bring it.
You also need to encourage the beauty inside, to recognize it. Only do that, they will become very weak, have an immense defense mechanism, and impossible to come back to truth, recognition of what is here and now. So it's very.
Did you say impossible?
If society, the way it's going now in the West, good luck for these kids who've been given everything. Have very few gratitude. They are not so much into gratitude, into recognizing the beauty of their parents. A lot of things are given to them. Not many difficulties. We don't request much from them, not so much. So difficult to bring them to the heart. And there is a little bit of a heart path there, where we need to a little bit knock that ego.
They have a lack of empathy.
Lack of empathy, everything is due, there is no more sense of respect and duty. So everything is a due. And as soon as I'm blamed or feel criticized, because they are not used to being criticized, as soon as there is a sense of being criticized, all the fault is on others. So this defense mechanism will become so strong that it will become impossible to awaken these new generations. So we have to be a little bit harder and a little bit clear with words and with lots of love, but clear with words and boundaries.
So I have a specific situation at work with someone who is quite difficult to work with. If you ask her to do something, she will get annoyed. And everybody feels this way. So now in my work, we tend to think, is it worth the battle?
Yeah.
But I'm not helping her. Going, okay, I'll do it myself because I don't need the trouble. And everybody behaves like this, so and I don't think, so.
It's difficult because sometimes
I feel if I say something, there is a judgment of her. I can't separate, I can't just be, love, you are not this behavior. I find it really difficult to speak from that point of, it's just your behavior. And I think she would hear it differently if I was able to speak from that point. But it has happened that I managed to do that, but normally I just go, I'll do it myself because it's not.
Yeah. So when you move with people like this, don't move with the will to help them.
No, it's also because I feel
move with the will to help yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if we move with the will to help them, it's still a little bit ego game also. So move with the will to respect yourself to the best and also her. And at one point, if you're at peace, completely be at peace with this person. I'm completely at peace with you. Bring peace into feel. If you can manage to be completely at peace with this person, into your body, no resistance at all. So whenever we are meeting difficult people in our life, let's bring them into our heart and body. I'm completely at peace with you, and you breathe. And from that place of peace, the best intuition can come out, how to deal with them, and to trust our words. And sometimes it can be very radical. Sometimes it can be just, I know I need to just take distance. There is no other way. Sometimes distance is the best way because whatever you will say to some people will come back to you. So it's when there is too much of a wall, too much of ignorance, too much of a lack of understanding and openness, distance is always the best way. After still expressing what you feel, as nicely as possible. Try to express it, otherwise you get distance and still feel a bit frustrated. So say what you have to say in the nicest way possible, if possible, and then take distance. And that's the best way for maybe conflict to be resolved, maybe not, but the best way to keep a certain harmony between the two parts. And trust your heart for what to do and what to say. But make peace first in your heart.
I think that's exactly the missing link for me, your point. that there's so much discomfort, and I could see clearly that it's something, I must say something. But then I hadn't just fully accepted it or allowed that.
So first inside, any conflict resolution is first inside. And then to set boundaries in a natural way and distance when there is no issue out. Take distance after expressing a little bit yourself. Because this will be helpful no matter what, to you and to the other one. Whether it is heard or not now, but it's still in the mind. People hear it. And that's helpful one day.
And I'm thinking, I've sometimes noticed that when I do start behaving in a different way, there's some discomfort related to that. But that's more because it's unusual for me.
Yes.
It's not a sign of that I'm doing something wrong.
No. It's when we start opening to verbally communicating what we feel. And let's try as much as possible to communicate freely, spontaneously, but trying to have more, a little bit, instead of saying you are, is I feel like this with you. You know, it's so, I'm sorry, but it's so heavy sometimes. I feel like this. Can we please find something, a solution together? So that's also, that is felt like an insult. But the more we open to communicating freely, we are not so used of that. So used to that. So at the beginning, we feel uncomfortable. We feel shaky and uncomfortable, and it may come out like steam. Enough is enough. I will communicate, but it comes out as steam. But if we are getting used to communicating like this, that steam will cool down, because words come out more and more and more, which is also felt as a freedom inside. So we have less boiling energy inside. So let's really open to communicating freely, as nicely as possible if we can. And if we cannot, it's okay. But don't feel too guilty about that. Don't feel guilty. But more and more you will find peace with your way of communicating. Yes.
A question about doing or not doing.
Cannot hear you. I can hear you.
If about doing or not doing, or what to do.
And who is doing and who is the doer?
But, in a way, if there's a kind of clarity and you know who you are, and you're just sitting there or here and open to all the thoughts and all the sensations and feelings. It's like if you're sitting there and you're open, you don't have to do something or what.
What do you think?
I don't think. You have to do.
So if you don't think, you know what to do. Don't you think so?
I don't think.
Yes, I know. It's. I know it's only a doubt, but in one way I know. But it's a question about trusting.
Yes, trusting.
Yeah.
And also being cool with yourself, allowing mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, this morning I was walking, there was this cute puppy, a little puppy dog, and he was very clumsy. So I thought, wow, it's like us when we learn how to be. At the beginning, we have not so much trust. So we are a little bit, going here, going there, not so steady into our doing naturally.
Yeah. But the mind said that I should go on, to allow the waves.
Yes.
The big waves, and it is like it's trying to to do something. There's something that wants to do something to get deeper and wider. Yeah.
So that is also, you have to feel also.
It's like if I don't do anything, something will just happen by itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of trying to do something.
Yeah.
And it's getting back to trust.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. So when I was talking about this healing practice, this is important as an exercise. An exercise. Take it just as a healing practice. An exercise to a little bit simplify our life. Because when we meet ego within, we can avoid a certain karma in our life. We can shift, which is also part of our karma. So everything is predestined, even that shift. But it can be understood as a healing exercise. In daily life, try not to think so much. Hold on to trust. And be spontaneous. That's a natural doer of consciousness within every cell of you. It knows what to do. Consciousness in you spontaneously knows what to do. It's the greatest force of creation. So you don't have to think what to do now. You feel, because it is within every pore of your skin, of your body. So go back to that spontaneity in daily life, into that movement. Don't think. Don't think, oh, I am consciousness. Now what should I be doing? Just be spontaneous. And when there is a contraction in your body, that's a sign that, again, ego is driving you. Ego now is a driver. So there are two drivers. There is a driver which is your nature, consciousness within your body, the natural expression of yourself. And sometimes the driver is ego. And when ego drives you, no matter what it is, you feel it in the body. As a feeling of uneasiness, or as a feeling of heaviness, or as a feeling of a contraction, anxiety. That's the ego. Then in the evening, you can come back and say, a little practice here. What really disturbed me in that situation? I welcome my wave. So that's the home practice. To help to ease your life a little bit. But in daily life, try not to think. Be spontaneous. And put attention into your body, if you can. When there is uneasiness. Yeah? Trust, trust, trust.
I've been thinking a lot about ego this morning, and you've been speaking a lot about it also, but I can't actually understand what it is, or who it is, or
what is this thing within us?
I can't really figure out where it comes from.
Memories that are registered into our bodies through the genetic lines. So it's not you. It's just memories. If they have been unresolved and there's been resistance to it, it keeps on manifesting into the body through the mother line, the father line, the genetic branch of a tree. And the tree is not only your genetic branch, it is the whole tree of humanity. So all aspects of these memories, which is also the source of life, without memory, life also cannot manifest. So it is both a process of creation and a process of trouble. But we cannot have one without the other one. So these memories are within us, and if we are not conscious about what it really is, we identify with them. But if we are conscious, we say, hey, that's my program, genetic program within. It's not who I am. And what to do, I'm not guilty, I'm not responsible for it. When you become conscious. But with consciousness and seeing these patterns, you become responsible. Responsibility comes with awareness. Because you're clear about your ego. So you're responsible of it now. So the more you come to your divinity, the more you come to your responsibility in life. Huh? It's not, don't be afraid of it. It's not the way, but it comes naturally. And it's just memories, old memories, old patterns that are still unclear.
Yes, I have a little situation here with my mother,
Yeah.
and she will come soon to Copenhagen, so I feel like how to respond, because I see myself very much in my mother, the same, like this guilt and this maybe the wave of evil indifference, which I can see very strong in her, that she's not allowing, or she has this guilt that there is this wave inside, and same for me. So what I sense when I'm with her is this very like a deep heaviness, because I sense that she's trying to compensate for this wave of, actually sometimes the wave of indifference, not caring, and maybe lack of love. And then she's like overdoing, like really like overflowing, and always like thinking, how are you? And are you okay now? And you want to sit on my chair, or I can go here. And it's just like...
that typical feeling energy. Yeah?
And I see myself, of course, in that behavior as well. I've taken it. And then one time it was like, I didn't know how to respond. And then I just said, stop. And then she stopped, and I was like, I'm fine, and please stop, because I wanted her to really feel what is her need, because it's actually hurting when she's, because I sense where it comes from this guilt, but then I sense that she became quiet, but then I sense that so much guilt in her was just like coming up, and she turned it inside, like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I felt that so deeply inside, so I didn't know how to relate to her, because I can sense that she is so tense in my company, and so I don't know how, and I also sense that it will be too much for her if I open up and say, it's okay to be indifferent, it's okay to have this sense of not caring, and to recognize the meanness, or maybe a little bit like lack of love, but it's not you. But I don't sense that I can actually, it will be too much maybe to bring up.
I hope she can see that video.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you have to do.
Yes.
And you give all the answers.
Because I just feel like, I'm just longing for us to like breathe out and say, it's okay, because she cannot set boundaries at all. And for me, I also feel very difficult to set boundaries, because I also, so it's like for us to just really like, okay, step up and just allowing for being, say stop.
Yeah, and now she can maybe understand that this stop in you is coming from love.
Exactly.
And
from
from caring, and from your own self-healing and her own self-healing, out of love. She will understand.
So I will show this?
Yes!
So when she comes, we can have a
true love.
And also for her to actually, it's okay to say no to me, or to take the best chair.
To say no, to set boundaries, to respect herself.
Exactly,
also. And know that she is love.
Exactly, yes.
To believe she is love.
So when she is going for the best chair, and I see that she feels guilty, and then, you want to sit here, and I'm like, so.
Yeah.
Okay. You can bring him up.
Yes, she has a good sense of humor.
You also make her laugh about the situation.
Yes. I will try with some humor and show.
But it comes from a lot of love.
Yes,
a lost love.
Exactly.
Lost love that is not conscious.
And it's just, I think it's so funny, because we are so lost in that love.
In love, we are in that openness.
Exactly.
Why don't change roles, so Lisa becomes the mother and the mother becomes Lisa?
Yeah.
That we could also try.
It made fun with recent yesterday. Changing the role from being a master and student.
Yeah. And here she was that role of caring for her.
curious about the contraction of the ego. Yesterday we were doing those mantra songs. I experienced this overwhelming joy. Then there was this contraction. Just took a chop of the joy, and I was like, I don't want that to happen. So it was interesting and more curious about how to meet this contraction of the ego.
When it happens, so it's very easy. You just feel it. You go back inward. When we have a contraction, it comes into a place in the body. So if you can, at the moment you do it. Otherwise you do it in the evening or the next morning. And you say, oh, how did I feel? Okay, you come back to that situation with leaving a little bit of story. But just come back to help you feeling that again. And you close your eyes, you feel it, you just connect with that contraction and breathe with it. You feel that contact is healing, because that's also contact with your ego. And if you're ready, some words will come out of that feeling. The sensation, the feeling. It manifests as a feeling. The contraction is a feeling. And don't try to analyze. Just connect with the feeling as it is. I actually feel blocked, or I feel nervous, as it is. Or I feel I cannot relax. Okay, I'm not relaxed. You meet the clouds of ego, the waves of ego as they are. First, I'm not relaxed. I breathe with I'm not relaxed. And that breathing may open another door. I actually feel sad. Okay, I feel sad. I am sad. I breathe. Maybe the body sensation is in another place now. And then it may open another door. And like this, we heal ourselves from deep layers of memories. So the body is a door for healing and for meeting our ego. A simple door into self-inquiry. Seeing that behind all the doors of memories and ego is always the same spaciousness, the same silence, the same peace. It is always there, but has many blocked doors in front. If you reconnect and contact that block as a sensation in the body, healing is there. And give the body the total freedom to heal whenever it wants to heal. So if the block goes, fine. If the block doesn't go immediately, fine. I'm not my movie, I'm the screen. And the movie can play again and again and again and again. And this is so important to understand, because impatience on the spiritual path, again, the will for change, the will for transformation, the will for results, can be the greatest obstacle. So completely surrender to what is here now. No expectation, no will for change. Just a connection with what is here now as it is. And that's the greatest source for healing. But don't fall into expectations. Give the time to heal when it's your time. But if you have expectation, you're blocking again the process. So just a contact through the body with what is here and now, as ego, as a block, as an old memory. And trust, again, that change will happen when it's the time. When maybe maturity is there within you. Or when maybe life is now ready to bring you what you need. But it was not the time before. So trust completely the process of life. This is also for love and relationships. Oh, but I've been doing my inner job. I should meet now the partner. Because it works like this. If we do the inner work, that what we've been working with can manifest. Lovers and friendship and whatever is a bridge of consciousness. Whatever we realize inside manifests outside. So when you're ready for true love, you can meet true love. But sometimes it's not the time. That person is not ready. So give the time. And we have to be patient on the spiritual path. We don't want to use our level of consciousness to try to manipulate our reality now. Meaning, I got it all, it should manifest. No, give the time for every element to come into play. And sometimes it takes years for every element to come into play. Just keep the trust and keep welcoming what is here now. Yeah, is that clear?
Yeah, it is. So if the feeling is overwhelming and very strong, should I first center myself?
No, you just meet the I am overwhelmed.
Okay.
But first, if it's too strong, meet the truth. I have nothing to fear. I'm safe. And meet the resistance through these words. When there is an overwhelming feeling, meeting the truth, I am safe, will bring also a lot of resistance in the body because you don't believe it. So that's healing. That gives room to both the ego and the truth. So you're integrating both at the same time. First. And a deeper healing, once you're ready, is going completely into the ego cloud. To completely face it and get rid of it. And then back to truth. And then there is space for it. I am safe, you feel it's true. So, like this. The truth, the cloud, the truth. Yeah? And the truth is, I am safe, I can trust myself, I'm already healed, I'm already free, I'm loved. So you can, whatever word is healing for you. I'm loved, I'm completely at peace with myself. I'm home, I am. Whatever, I am joy, I'm happy. Check in the impact of these words within and how much you have integrated some aspects of consciousness within your body. So that's a healing. That's integrating the truth. And then meeting the cloud. And then back to the truth. And you're safe. And it takes the time it takes. Yeah, sorry.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes. I just wanted to talk about. I have this feeling when I use language, I lose myself. It's a kind of sharing with the outer world. I get into dualism, and then I lose myself. It very often happens. I always find language words very, very, very difficult to use. I love silence, even though I'm a very talking person. I have a very hard time being silent. Not always. In lots of situations, so it's very easy for me to be silent. In my daily life, being with family, being with friends, I'm talking all the time. And that's lovely. I have so many important things in my heart, and that's good. But as soon as it comes to feelings I have about, if things are not right for me, I see things very clearly. And I often feel like I have a very good intuition, and it's always right. I feel this is really the truth. And I'm always very honest when I go out sharing. But I always have a hard time sharing because it's like, then I lose myself. I doubt myself. I start to blame myself. Like I see all other sides, all other angles, and I always think that this is also kind of clarity, because when I go out and speak loud, I can see that I have, it's a kind of it's a quality about me too, that I'm able to see so many different perspectives all the time. And you and me, I would always see your point of view always, and all the other points of view at the same time. But it's just because you want something, and why are you not always happy? Why are you not always just like you should be, And so it's starting to get very painful from having this clarity. It's getting very painful, and I see there's so much good here, but it's still painful to
believe it.
Yeah.
Simply to believe it. This is again typically the feminine perspective. You feel the silence and it manifests through your music. You're clear about reality and people and all what you can integrate within and see and feel. And that gives you intuition because you're connected in your openness. And you now have clarity about who you are, but you still cannot believe it. So there is still this confusion. I still cannot believe it, and the guilt is still very strong. It has no reason to be there, but it's still very strong.
Yes.
Here and now. is the only reality, here and now. 1 second before is no longer there. 1 second after is not yet here. So here and now, drop every guilt, drop the past, drop every expectations in the future. Here and now, you're always pure and free. Always. So trust that. Don't hold on to any past experience, any past events. Drop it. Don't feel guilty. And from that lack of guilt, from first, I make peace with myself. I forgive myself. Let's all do that. Let's meet inside. I forgive myself. And see if there are contractions in the body or not. And in the same way you breathe with these contractions, and here and now you're always forgiven. Always. So when this is done, see that you're afraid of communicating because out of guilt, out of your inner guilt, you still have something to prove. So you're still trying to prove you're good.
Yes.
But you have nothing to prove. Trust yourself. Come back to inner trust. Drop the past. Drop the inner guilt. Drop the past even that doesn't belong to you. It's just an old program working through you. So drop it. Understand it's not you. It's playing through you, but it is not you. So you have nothing to prove. And when you have nothing to prove, words come out with clarity and silence. Silence doesn't mean you're quiet. Silence means whatever is expressed comes from that source of silence. That's true silence. So come back there, and you're there through your music. You're there through... It is very much in there, but you cannot believe it. So for you, the healing words, I believe in myself. I have nothing to prove. So work with that. I believe in myself, I have nothing to prove. And I am free. I am free. And when you have nothing more else to prove, and know also that in your way of being stuck with the language and self-expression is the unconscious tendency that knows that the female voice cannot be expressed. It's not good enough. So it's very unconscious, but it's still playing through you. If I express myself, I may be killed. It's a very deep, hidden memory in the feminine energy. If I show who I am, I truly express who I am, I may be killed, or put down, or hurt. That's a very hidden energy within us, within the feminine. So that's why words for the feminine are sometimes so hard to come out, because we have that hidden fear. So you're typically into that bubble.
Yes.
And it's all okay.
Yeah.
You see it clearly, it's a pattern. And you can heal yourself with those healing words. I have nothing to fear. I am already free. And what did I say?
You have to free.
Nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Nothing to prove and nothing to fear.
Yeah.
And I trust myself. Work with that. Work with that. And once you're free from the opinions of others, because you have nothing to prove, they accept you or they don't accept you, but hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. You give also the freedom to others not to like you. And this is very important, to give the freedom to other ways not to like you. To give the freedom to other ways to leave that room if they want to. That's total self-respect. We don't have to appreciate everybody. We have more or less affinities. And the more we respect the freedom of each other, the less we'll take it personally. Because so far, if someone says, oh, I don't like you, or I want to leave that room, or I want to do that, we take it personally. Oh. No, let's give the freedom for each other to be our true self. And not to take it personally. And out of this freedom, there is true self-respect. And we stop feeling hurt or thinking, oh, this person will get hurt if I do that. So we feel limited. But the more we free ourselves from that, the more we free also other people. Because I don't know if you observe, but whenever we force ourselves to be nice because we don't want to hurt that person, we always end up hurting these people. Huh? It's automatic. I've seen that in me a lot. And life has shown me, okay, let's not force ourselves to be nice. Because actually we are not helping ourselves and we are not helping other people. So just let's be ourselves. And there is a feeling of freedom actually. We feel actually better around people who don't care. Because we feel free. Huh? So the masculine energy for the feminine energy gives that freedom. There is a little bit of less care, but there is such a space there where we feel at ease. In the openness that is the feminine, wanting to please everybody, taking care of everybody, we feel like walking on eggs. Huh? Oh, yes, so nice, but I don't feel free there. So that's also the characteristics of that feminine energy. So understanding all of that, let's try to be as free as possible. There is no intention of hurting anyone, but I feel free. I feel free to leave the room. I feel free to say no. And you helping everybody. The more we respect ourselves, the more we respect everybody. And that is a source of harmony, not the opposite. Too much kindness, too much niceness sometimes is a source of chaos. And self-respect is a source of harmony.
Jung said, do you want to be good or do you want to be whole?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have to free ourselves from good and evil. Both. And when I awakened, I got that clear message in me, and I don't remember if it was through a dream or through something. There was a clear voice who said to me, don't forget. Free yourself from good. In my case, it was from good as much as evil. Huh? Free yourself from good. So we have to free ourselves from all aspects of duality, which are all opposite forces, good and evil. It's all fine. We can feel all of them. Freeing ourselves doesn't mean we don't feel. We can feel everything, but you don't identify with what you feel. That is freedom. So if you feel you're playing the good one, okay, I see it. That's being free. And at one point, it will not drive you. And I had another dream when I awakened. It was never forget the story of the 3 little pigs. It was so funny. The wooden house, the brick house, and the straw house. Build a strong inner house. Don't look at all the stones. Don't deny any stone. And you're strong. Evil can come, the wolf can come. You have a good inner house here. So remember the story of the 3 little pigs. Consciousness is funny, huh? Has a good sense of humor.
I was wondering when identification with the victim happens, which happens. What would be the good truth to invite first? Would it be like, I'm safe? It doesn't ring in me. What could be?
What is the opposite of victim?
My what?
What is what you cannot believe? In terms of the opposite of victim, I am strong. Yes. Can you believe in that? I am strong?
Yes, I do believe in it.
Feel it in the body? Yeah. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Okay, there's a weakness in the middle of the strongest. So
Feel it. Like, oh, do you want to come here?
Okay. No? It's not recorded, is it? Because I don't want to go in the
Okay, so you keep here. Huh? Oh, you do, also the words?
No,
The
the
words
words
are
are
okay?
okay. Yeah.
So close your eyes and take your time. It's your time. Okay? So it's your time, take it. Close your eyes and feel I am strong. How does it feel? Okay. Okay, so really, we have to take the time to feel the body. The body doesn't lie to us. Our mind, yes, can still.
No.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a very deep. I don't know. I can see now that I wrapped this feeling of being very weak up in strongness. Because I also,
But coming from the mind.
yes, but I am strong actually.
Yes. But my dear, that's the problem also of women. We are strong, but as a battle. It comes from that battle because we don't recognize that weakness also that sometimes we feel. So we come with that with these weapons of strength and still pretending I'm strong. It's okay, I can take care of so many things on my back. But it's exhausting. It is exhausting. Because it doesn't come from a place of self-recognition or what is here and now. So true healing in that case is recognizing I'm truly strong. And I respect myself. And I'm truly strong and I respect myself. And I welcome my cloud. I am weak. It's not the truth, but it's still active as something, because something I don't want to watch. It is still a bit active.
Yes. And it feels like a baby.
Yeah.
It's really, it's the weakness comes from not being able to act or
Yeah, not feeling free to be
But it's a
yourself.
feeling of being so small.
Yeah. So you will welcome the truth. I'm so huge. That's the truth. You're universal.
Yeah.
I have nothing to fear. I'm so huge. And I welcome my little cloud. I'm small. That will be your healing. I welcome my little cloud. I'm small. And then back to the truth. I have nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing to fear. But I respect myself. You have to integrate that. I respect myself. And now I say no. I say no, and I set boundaries from the heart. Not from the pretense of I am strong. Not from pretending. Because this is creating trouble. So from the heart you will shift to a different set of boundaries. But that will be much healthier for everybody. You and other people. Yeah? So we are not going to go into that because now, except if you
But
want.
I feel
You want to work with it now?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah? Okay.
That would be fine.
So let's meet first. I am strong. Take your time. And we can all do that also.
There's something that doesn't believe it. I can feel the strongness. I can also feel the vastness, but there's still something, and it's as if it's in the heart.
Yeah, so feel your heart. It's not about believing it. When we do this exercise, it's not about feeling strong. It's about inquiring in your body how your body reacts to these words.
Yes.
So it's just an exploration of body sensations. Don't take it as something you have to reach. I want to be clear with that. Don't take it as something you have to reach. You are that. But don't take it something you have to reach. Just explore the body sensation. So just feel the heart now. Breathe with it.
I have been able to meet this week. Really.
So,
It scares me
do you
so
feel
much.
ready to meet it?
I do.
Yeah?
I really want
You believe in your strength?
I
Huh?
do.
Yeah? So let's meet it, and we can all send you light and support, huh? To meet this. It's just a word, but you are very identified with it, unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So just, I am weak, and feel all the emotions in the body. A wave, just a wave, rising.
I don't know if I avoid it because it doesn't. I don't feel weak anymore. I mean, I can't find the weak feeling.
Keep feeling, keep feeling. Huh? Just keep feeling.
There's also fear around it.
What is a fear?
It's not that to get annihilated, or it's actually it's about being allowed to be here.
So I'm not allowed, huh? I'm not good enough to be here?
No.
Huh? So meet that cloud.
That's how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah. Breathe and let this wave, it will reach a peak of nearly being unbearable. Huh? It reaches a peak, but after that peak of unbearableness, it collapses. Huh? So go and allow completely that wave. Huh? And it's okay. We can have emotions, crying, it's okay. Just feel it. Take your time. Breathe. How do you feel?
It's loosening. It's
Keep feeling it. Keep feeling that.
it's like some iron is holding my heart.
So feel. Yeah. Meet that wall. More peace inside. I'm completely at peace with myself. I respect myself. Welcome, I respect myself.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Feel the resistance.
Yeah.
Meet that. Feel. Close your eyes and feel. I am free from suffering. Meet that.
Yes,
That's a body
I also
sensation.
feel the addiction to suffering pretty strong, actually. Yeah.
So meet the truth of your true nature. I am free from suffering.
It feels true.
Oh, great. Huh? So that's your direction, huh?
Yeah.
For believing in yourself.
I'm free from suffering.
I'm free from no suffering. I'm strong.
Yeah.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
I respect myself. Huh? And I'm free from suffering. I'm at peace with myself. Huh? That will clear up.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it in public. Huh? Thank you for your courage. And
Thank
that's
you.
also healing for the people. Thank you. When the soul is at peace, what remains is this ocean of deep silence, deep peace. And anything manifesting to it. Deep silence is not the absence of noise, but even the noise doesn't disturb it.
Isn't even
Even
the
the noise doesn't disturb.
doesn't
It's silent. And that deep silence is also the recognition of true beauty. Right? Completely welcoming that true beauty, not being ashamed of it. And there is a relaxation with that.
We spoke about the sun and the moon today. Yeah. No.
It is a
Earth, well, but no. I want to go back to the mother and the father, the earth and the sky.
It's
or
also the
heaven.
sun and the moon.
Okay, but why I'm trying to find the right words is because I would like to know, what about the sun? Is he represented by any planet or by any weather?
I don't know, I'm sure. Everything is a correspondence. Everything is nothing is outside of all these three basic elements of existence, three basic current of existence. It's even electrical originally. Plus, minus, and electrical. Plus, minus, and neutral, zero.
Ah, and who's the neutral?
Who's the neutral?
Everything together.
It's when
The plus and the
there
minus.
is integration, when there is integration of the three, it becomes both neutral and both movemental integrated.
Both neutral and
neutrality and movement integrated.
movement integrated.
So there is stillness within movement.
Aha.
There is stillness within movement. That's why there is also these two axes integrated.
I don't hear too well. You said there is not
Stillness. Stillness.
It is stillness.
There is stillness within movement.
Ah, now I got it. Yeah.
When the bridge is there between heaven and earth, there is stillness in movement.
Yeah,
That's part of life. Life, fullness and emptiness meet. Stillness and movement.
So we're supposed to be the stillness.
In movement. You're sat shit. You're both.
Yes, but I mean, if you think of earth and heaven,
Yeah.
I mean, women are more still and men are more movement. I would
No,
say.
the opposite.
Ah, yes?
The opposite. The masculinity is steadiness,
Yeah.
emptiness,
Yeah.
silence, no movement. The Shakti energy is a feminine energy, life, movement, openness.
Yeah.
It's a movement. And self-integration is stillness in movement.
That would be a good thing.
It is happening every time.
A question? Can you speak a little bit about the attachment to the body?
That's funny because I thought I wanted to talk about attachment, but it was so beautiful that I didn't feel like right away to talk about it. So this attachment or detachment doesn't matter. What does matter is making peace with your waves and ego. And then detachment manifests automatically. Attachment is still a rejection of some ego sides. What we reject, we are still attached. So whenever we are not at peace with all aspects of our ego, we are still attached to our ego, attached to suffering, and attached to the body, and attached to even family or everybody around. But when there is peace with ego, even if you can have a little bit of attachment to the body, you can leave your body. It's easy to leave the body. So don't worry about attachment and detachment. Just make peace with your mind, and when the time to leave the body comes, you're absolutely ready. And you can detach even at will. I think, even at will. We feel inside when it's a time to leave the body. And you can say goodbye to everybody. In a conscious society, we can die consciously. And you will feel it inside, it's your time. And you can say goodbye to everybody, separate a little bit from friends and family, and leave the body.
Okay, so the desire to wish my body to look a certain way.
The what?
The desire to, or the attachment to wanting, not to be fat or whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All of that doesn't matter.
But that's just that's just ego that I project onto the body.
Yeah, we all have issues with our bodies, with our parents, but if you say yes to it, it's the same. Not the fact of the fact of accepting. We don't accept ourselves. Is detachment. You see, it's very simple. We have nothing to change. And I wanted to talk about this detachment issue because when it is understood intellectually in the spiritual field, it leads to a lot of harmful or hurtful detachment, which are not necessary.